Hello and welcome back, everyone. It's Scootsy16 here with another episode of the Chemlock League with the Outlaws at the end of Season 2. And just like Season 1, we are back with another All-Star game before the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, the Outlaws will be in it once again as they manage to make a wild card spot for the second consecutive year. Taking a look at what the structure of the playoffs is going to look like, which we will recap at the very end as well. The Maulers and Dive Bombers, the number one seeds from each conference, are the same as they were in Season 1. So some things never change and the others change very significantly. So what we are going to do is have an all-star game. And before we get into that, I did want to give a couple of shout outs, a few players that got snubbed in the all-star voting that did not end up making it in for a variety of different reasons, primarily being the restricted structure of our teams and how I wanted to put this together. So to get into this pretty quickly so we can get to the game, looking at the top 10, there is only one player on this list that does not get into the All-Star game, and unfortunately that is Golder Jones. Golder had an incredible year. 1.04 ERA, a .35 whip, .73 batting average, and it was very, very good year for him. Unfortunately, he does not get the spot because his teammate, and you can see he's an S-tier pitcher, 24 years old, a lefty, just lights out stuff here. The rookie had an incredible year, but unfortunately he gets beat out by his counterpart, Kellen Kirk. We'll talk about him because he will be the starter for the Yang All-Stars, so we'll come back to him a little bit later, but just wanted to give a quick shout out to Golder Jones. He definitely deserves the All-Star game, but he gets the honorable mention here. The other two players that I wanted to highlight are actually on the Outlaws, ironically, and those two players are Giovanni Mays and Ramon Lee. So first of all, Giovanni Mays, incredible year. Love to see it. The guy is so good. And he had a really great season. He had 28 total bases. He had 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, a 1.175 OPS. Very, very great performance. Unfortunately, there is a restriction as to how many players we can put on this team into the All-Star game. And even though he was the most productive catcher in the entire league, and actually this goes back to last year as well, he got snubbed for the All-Star game and probably was more deserving last year than he was this year. But either way, Giovanni Mays, he's going to get snubbed as well. And then last one I wanted to highlight was Ramon Lee. Quietly had one of the best seasons that we've seen. The 5 home runs, the 14 RBIs, very impressive as he really showed up for the team in his first full season with the Outlaws. And what I wanted to highlight is actually a fun fact of there were only 10 players in the league that had 30 or more total bases. One of those was Ramon Lee, and he is the only player not to make the All-Star game. So very unfortunate to see there. And actually, speaking of total bases, there were only 3 players that managed to hit over 40 total bases, and 2 of those 3 players are on our team, looking at Justice Colon and then Tony Centercut, just blowing everyone out of the water. Justice Colon is number 2 in total bases for the year. Tony Centercut, number 1 with 54, 9 more than the second place finisher there. So really, really impressive when you see what this team did and what these players on the Outlaws did. But that's enough of me gushing about my team. Let's go into this All-Star game. We're not looking at the Yin All-Stars. We're actually going to look at the Yang All-Star. I'm sorry, the Season 1 All-Stars. We want to look at the Season 2 All-Stars. And I'll double check here in a second if this is the right, I believe that's the right setup here. And we're going to watch this game. And just like last year, we are going to go to the team that had the best record in the entire league. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel, It is going to be the dive bombers, and just like we did last year, it's a bit of a repeat here. Actually, do we want to do evening? No, I'll do a night game again. I love the Field of Dreams feel, which actually makes it a lot more fun. We're going to make this a 6 inning game like we normally do, designated hitter on, and the auto runner starting in the late innings is not going to kick in for this one. And taking a look, okay, yep, this is the right team. So give me just a few moments to structure this, and we'll take a look at who deserves to go where. So as we did last year, there are going to be players that are not playing their standard positions, and that's just so that we can try and make sure everyone can get in. I also changed all of the relief pitchers that came into the all-star team to relief pitchers, except for the starter, and that starter is going to be a long reliever just so they don't get the mojo drop, but also so they don't stay for the entire game, or at least more likely that they get replaced. So Tony Centercut will be your left fielder in this one as the number one player in the league. I'll walk through their statistics and some fun facts as we play the game, but let me just structure the team setup first. So first baseman is going to be Elias Hensley. Lorelei Von Crum will not be a starter. Havoc Sandman at second base. Casey Willis needs to change. Alicia Guerra. Skylar Rocket is going to be our DH. Marcel Hornblower, I moved to right field because of his arm. And Skylar Rocket's DHing. Elias Hensley there. Center fielder will be Fox Brennan. Havoc Sandman at second. Casey Willis will be replaced by Caroline Arbor. So our bench players are Casey Willis, Lorelei Von Crum, and Leonardo Deputy. The our starting team here will be we'll put Skylar Rocket in the one spot. We'll put Caroline Arbor, number 2, Centercut at 3. I want Elias Hensley, who was the only other player to get above 40 total bases. He's going to get the 4 spot. And then, of course, we all know how Justice Cologne is. She fits best in the 6 spot, so we're going to put her there. And then we'll put Fox Brennan, Hornblower, and then Alicia Guerra in the catching position. Ellie Acosta gets the start. She was the number 4 player in the top 4. She got the honorable Golden Glove and Golden Bat, and so she will be the starter for the Yin Conference. And that's going to be the lineup and the team for this. Let's go ahead and move over to the Yang Conference. And the Yang Conference, as I flip my notes here, so bear with me here. Again, I set it so that everyone should be in the right spots, but let's take a look. Adonis is not a starter. It's actually going to be Leon Cross, who is the DH. And who's so Zaire Brazone is not going to be there. Hugo Bass goes in. Maximilian Panther was a surprise for me. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Everybody else is good except for Messiah Moreno will be replaced by Barrett Andrews. So now then the lineup itself will look like, let's do Crash Turncoat in the 1 spot, I think. All right, and then we'll put Knox Dominguez there. Ashley Ariano, I think that's how you pronounce. We'll put her at 4. She was actually we'll put her at 3. She was the best hitter in the Dive Bombers Conference. I'm sorry, in the Yang Conference. Barrett, good speed from Leon Cross. Maybe we'll put him in the 1 spot and then move Crash Turncoat down. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out as I go. Hugo Bass we'll put here. Yeah, that looks good. And then Kellen Kirk gets the start. Again, the Rippers starter had a really, really great season. We'll talk about that as we go. And just as we did last year, their uniform will be their home, and the Yin All-Stars will be away. So that's what we're looking at. Actually, if we do a quick change of team, quick little highlight here. Here's your Yin Conference All-Stars. And I think if you take a look at, that's actually really interesting. Look at the top left, and you will see three familiar faces. That's Tony Centercut, Madden Zimmerman, and Justice Cologne, all three of our outlaws that all get pulled together by Madden Zimmerman. He knows how to manage the team already as our ace. So love to see that. That's really funny. All right, and if we take a look at the Yang All-Stars, here's that team. Love to see it. All right, and I guess really quick, I should also highlight the chemistry. I know somebody had mentioned after the last All-Star game, a thought around the chemistry being like, hey, what if we just made an adjustment to the chemistry so that everything is at tier 2? I thought about that, but I actually think this is more fun. I think it's important to kind of highlight the fact that even when you have the best players put together on one team, it doesn't mean that they're going to play well together. And so you see that tier 3 for those spirited traits is going to be maxed out. So that'll be very interesting. But then you see tier 1 for 8 different scholarly traits. So that really is going to impact this team. And for the Yin All-Stars, you'll see tier 3 for competitive, which only impacts 2 different traits. That's K Collector for Ellie Acosta and Madden Zimmerman. But then you see tier 2 for everything except for Crafty. So Crafty has 4 traits that are getting in the tier 1 buff or debuff. So that will play a role here in this game. So we'll see how that plays out, but that's where we're going to get things started. So let's play ball. Heading to Golden Field for another All-Star game. And again, I have some statistics here. I don't want to overload, but I think I took better notes than I did last year. So we'll see how this goes as we go through the game here today. Starting with Kellen Kirk. The guy was lights out all year long. He actually had 2 complete games and 4 starts. One of those was a shutout. So very impressive in his 20 and a third innings pitched. He was number 6 in the top 10, number 3 for whip, which was .69. Number 3 for Ks per walk, which was 9. Oh my gosh, big hit there from the Yin Conference. Starting things off, base runner will send Skylar Rocket all the way around into second base for a leadoff double to get this one started. Skylar Rocket did not lead any of the categories, but had a really, really great year. 30 total bases, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. And then, of course, we have Caroline Arbor here. I am going to have a really tough time keeping up with all of these statistics. Carolina Arbor from the Bone Chills. She had a really good year, batting .333 with a .984 OPS. She strikes out there from Kellen Kirk, who, no surprise, big strikeouts for him. 18 on the year, which is actually tied for 5th. And here's our boy Tony Centercut. You know everything about Tony Centercut. 54. Oh, and a stolen base attempt from Skylar Rocket gets caught at third base from the catcher of the Yang Conference, Lindsey York. And Tony Centercut, big man on campus here in his first year. Full count, 2 outs. K Collector activates for Kellen Kirk and fouls that one off. Centercut gets the fastball but pushes that foul. And then pops one. He gets underneath it. Ranging back to catch that one is Arkansas for out number 3. So it's a leadoff double followed by 3 consecutive outs to end this first inning for Kellen Kirk and the Yang Conference. The Yang Conference came in and dominated the first few innings before getting just completely knocked around by the Yin All-Stars last year. Ellie Acosta, do want to highlight her as the starter for the Yin All-Stars. Nice play from Arbor there. Ellie Acosta, number 4 in the top 10. She was 3rd in ERA with a .98 whip at 7th overall, and then an 8.5 strikeout per walk, which was 7th. She had 1 complete game. She had a shutout in that complete game and 17 strikeouts on the year. does miss the top 10, but you can see she is just really, really good. Nice diving attempt there from Elias Hensley. Gets it over to Acosta for out number 2. Nice play from the defender, and this already seeing the impressive performances from these all-stars. You see Ashley Ariano coming up, number 9 in the top 10 for the Dive Bombers. I should be mentioning where they're from. Ellie Acosta from the Dirt Dogs. This is actually her second All-Star game. There was only a handful of players that made it to the All-Star game in 2 consecutive years as Ashley strikes out. So again, bear with me and appreciate you all for listening to me ramble through all of this. There's actually a few fun players that made the All-Star game for other teams that I would like to highlight as we go through this. But here comes Elias Hensley, number 2 in the top 10 this year. So the only person that beat him out was Tony Centercut, and he was number 2 in almost every offensive category, only behind Tony Centercut. And he strikes out there. Kellen Kirk just kind of mowing down the hitters of the Yin All-Stars. Havoc Sandman of the Marauders, he was number 3 in the top 10, and he had a really good year as well. Not as dominant as Elias Hensley or Centercut, obviously, but he had a really great performance as well, and nice pitching there from Kirk. So we had to Justice Cologne. She was number 5 in the top 10. She did have the league lead in home runs at 7. She also had 11 RBIs. She batted .478. Really, really great year. 1.446 OPS was good for 3rd in the league. And she had the second most total bases at 45, only behind Tony Centercut. And she works a nice walk there with 2 outs for Fox Brennan of the Burners. We remember him beating up on us earlier in the year. And he's going to get an opportunity to do something against Kellen Kirk. And hits one to second base, over to first for out number 3. So another good inning for Kellen Kirk, as he does allow a 2-out walk, but is able to get out of it. Max Domingo of the Protectors comes in. He had a 1.091 OPS with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Good year for him. Nothing that stood out, but he was definitely the best player on his team. 1-1 count here. Takes a ball and then swings at one right back to Acosta. Tosses to first for out number 1. I hope you guys like these All-Star games. Let me know if you have any additional feedback for things you would like to see differently going forward. But I think that this has been like more than I could have asked for putting this all together. And Hugo Bass, big hitter for the Dive Bombers. This is his second appearance in the All-Star game, so he made it last year as well. So that was fun to see. And Ellie Costa gets the strikeout there. There was actually, let me see, 1, 2, counting up, 3, 4, only 4 players, 2 from each team, that had made their second All-Star appearance. So that's really fun to see. And here comes Barrett Andrews. Barrett made the All-Star game from the Skulls. Did not have a particularly impressive year, but it was definitely a standout year for his team. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and a 1.029 OPS. 2-2 count here. Ellie Acosta still doing really well, but in a battle here with Barrett Andrews. And a dribbler to third base. Caroline Arbor gets over there, scoops it up, tosses to first for out number 3. So 1 hit and 1 walk so far, both from the Yin Conference, and that's all we've seen from offensive performance. So been a really fun one to watch if you love the pitching aspect of the game. Here comes Marcel Hornblower. The guy had a really big year for the Pythons. 5 home runs, tied for 4th in the league. He also had 15 RBIs, which was 3rd in the league. Big year from him, but he actually grounds out to second base for out number 1. Alicia Guerra, one of 2 players on the Yin Conference to make the All-Star game a second time. She is the catcher for the Dirt Dogs. And she had another really good year, .314 batting average, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and she gets that one down right in front of Maximilian Panther for a base hit. And Kellen Kirk will drop back down to neutral mojo. And a runner on first with 1 out for Skylar Rocket, who already had a double today. Ooh, interesting. I think Skylar lost one of his traits before the end of the season. Because I think when we saw him, Skylar being of the Marauders, he gets the base hit there, so it's 2 on with 1 out. When we saw him last, when we played the Marauders, I think he still had, I think it was fastball hitter, along with the base rounder trait, so that's really sad. He's still young, too, so seeing that regression is really unfortunate. Here comes Caroline Arbor. If I didn't mention that before, I mentioned she's from the Bone Chills. There's one, whoa, pulls that one hard, but it goes foul just down the first baseline. K Collector activates for Kellen Kirk, who's getting close to the end of his day, and collects that one as Caroline Arbor swings through a pitch out of the zone for strike 3. Tony center cut 0 for 1 today. He popped one or blooped one softly last time up. We'll see what he does here with runners in scoring position. Hits a fastball. It's getting into deep right field, and that ball is going to carry and get out of here. Tony Centercut, the #1 player in the league, the MVP, comes in and makes for a huge moment here in this field of dreams. Tony Centercut, the rookie, hits a 3-run homer to break the 0-0 tie, and that might be it for Kellen Kirk as Elias Hensley comes in. Now, Kirk stays in. He's tense, and he has to face off against Elias Hensley. And I can't remember if I mentioned Hensley from the Maulers, but you probably remember him from beating us up in some of those games that we saw him in. 3-1 count here, and he hits one slowly over to short. With 2 outs, that's going to end the inning, but not before our man, Tony Centercut, shows up for the All-Star team, a 3-run homer to take the lead, and the Yin All-Stars trying to push for their second consecutive All-Star win on the back of Ellie Acosta. There's crossed up, but doesn't matter here with nobody on. 2-0 count. And Crash Turncoat from the Undulates. He had a pretty solid year with 35 total bases, which was tied for 8th in the league. Fouls there. I'm sorry, 3 stolen bases, which was tied for 8th in the league. He had 29 total bases. He actually had a 1.185 OPS, which was 7th in the league, and Ellie Acosta gets the strikeout there. And here comes Maximilian Panther. Big year for him. He moves on over to the other conference, to the Skulls, and he hits 5 home runs and 13 RBIs, tied for 4th and 6th, respectively. He hits that one back at Ellie Acosta, who dribbles the ball and misplays it behind her, and then it ends up being an infield single for Panther. And here comes Lindsay York, the catcher from the Scroungers. She did not have a very impressive year at all. Batted .357, but that's really only of note for her. But she was the best catcher from the Yang Conference. So she pops up there to second base, and that's out number 2. Leon Cross comes up. Leon from the Rippers. He had a pretty solid year, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 4 doubles. He also had a 1.051 OPS, so he gets the nod here for the Rippers. 1-2 count as he shatters his bat, and Ellie Acosta with her K Collector and gets the strikeout there for number 3, and that ends the inning. Another solid inning from Ellie Acosta. She does allow a base hit on a little dribbler, but right back at her, which she misplayed, but those are always a tough play when it's right back at you as the pitcher. Kellen Kirk gets pulled. Kate Berg of the Undulates gets brought in. She had a .61 ERA, which was good for 2nd in the league. She also had a .89 whip, which was 8th in the league. So really dominant performance from her for the Undulates. She's got a 1-2 count here against Sandman. Over to Terry Arkansas to Ariano for out number 1. Justice Cologne gets her 2nd plate appearance. She did walk her first time last time up. And you'll see Ace Exterminator does not activate here, as Berg is not an A- or better. Another fun fact, and as she pops up to left field, If you miss the first year, this is not about the best talent of players in the league. This is about the actual performance. So the statistics is what I looked at, and that's all I looked at. Fox Brennan coming up for the Burners, so as well as be batting 389 for ninth in the league. He also had that 1.158 OPS. I don't remember if I mentioned that. Good for 10th in the league. He had a solid year. And the battle brewing here between Kate and Fox, and it ends up being Kate that wins as she gets a ground out to first. And that's going to end the fourth inning quietly. We head to the back half of the All-Star game, the second annual All-Star game. And Terry Arkansas comes up with his maxed out contact versus righties. Terry of the favorites batted 396 for his OPS. He had 5 home runs, which was tied for fourth, 8 RBIs, and 25 total bases. So big power numbers for him, and he may be able to utilize that here with that maxed out contact trait. 1-2 count here. Ellie Acosta locked in, and Max K Collector is still active. Good battle here for Arkansas. That contact is showing up and helping him out as he's staying alive here. Do the 2-2 count again. And a dribbler, this time Ellie Acosta does not make a mistake, and she's able to get that one over to first for out number one, excuse me. All right, here's Ashley Ariano for her second at-bat, 0 for 1 today as she hits that one pulled foul, but very loud foul there. If she can time it up a little bit better, Acosta might be in trouble. 1-2 count here. K Collector activates, and you can see Acosta is just gassed at this point as she grounds that one over to Arbor, to Hensley across the diamond for out number 2. You wonder, when is Acosta's day going to end as Knox Dominguez comes up. And she's going to stay out there with 2 outs. And oh my God, Knox Dominguez has 3 home runs on the year. That's going to be a big one to make this a 3-1 ball game as he hits that out of the stadium. 468 to pretty much dead center field, and Knox Dominguez of the Protectors breathes a little life into this Yang All-Star team. We'll see if Hugo Bass can pick up where he left off as Acosta gets pulled. Tucker Blaze from the Burners gets brought in. I'm sorry, of the Maulers gets brought in. He had a 2.12 ERA, 1.47 whip, and 17 strikeouts. He was a starter as he gets a 101-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 3 to end the inning. He was a starter with 3 pitches, and we actually, he pitched really well all year. We could not figure out how to hit him, and it was very frustrating, but at least it wasn't just our team that struggled against him. As Hornblower comes in against Kate Berg here in the top of the 5th, it is 3-1. This game is still anyone's ball game, as anyone can make a mistake against these very, very impressive hitters. So Terry Arkansas tosses to Ariano for out number 1. And here comes Alicia Guerra, 1 for 1 with a single. She had a good performance, her first All-Star game, if I recall correctly, and she's doing pretty well so far today. 0-2 and a grounder to third base, misplayed. Nice backup from the shortstop there. I don't know who that was. I think Barrett Andrews made the mistake. And then I believe Knox Dominguez. No, Knox Dominguez is the one that made the mistake, I believe, as the base hit goes up the middle. That is Skylar Rocket's second hit of the day.
Third baseman, number 21.
I think second, maybe third. Carolina Arbor comes up 0 for 2 today, looking to see if she can contribute to the Yin All-Star production here. Takes a first pitch strike. Kate Berg getting to the end of her day, approaching the 24 pitch mark here in this next one. Runner takes off. Skylar Rocket trying again, this time safe at second base. And I was right. Dominguez was the one that made the mistake, and then Barrett was behind him as that grounder to second base. Nice play from Arkansas. Was able to get up quickly and toss it over to first for out number 3. And that's going to be a mojo drop from Arbor as she goes 0 for 3 so far today. Barrett Andrews, the shortstop that made a really nice play to back up his third base partner, comes up and slowly grounds to second. Havoc Sandman over to first. Now, Sandman's actually naturally a first baseman, but I had to move him to second bases. Between him, Justice Cologne, and Elias Hensley, a lot of first basemen that I had to move around, unfortunately. Tucker Blaze against Crash Turncoat. Tucker throwing that heat, blazing heat, and nice play from Elias Hensley. His second one, he dove across the line to get to, and then he gets up and tosses to the pitcher, covering the bag. And here comes Maximilian Panther. He was a guy we looked at in the offseason. I was considering him or Tony Centercut. And, of course, we're very happy that we went with Tony, the rookie. But Max Panther with a really nice year so far. And he gets on base for the second time in tonight's ball game. And here comes Lindsay York. She threw out a runner in the first inning, but hasn't done anything. As I'm speaking, she hits one to deep right center field. Fox Brennan is scooping that one up and tossing it in. Base rounder activates for Max Panther, and that's going to score a run. Big one-run double for Lindsay York, and that's going to push this game to a one-run difference here, 3-2. Max pressure now, and that ball gets into left field. Tony Centercut scoops it and tosses it in. That is a single, advancing the runner over to third base. And now Terry Arkansas comes up 0-2, max pressure with a big opportunity against Tucker Blazes. And they're going to keep Blaze out there, who is getting roughed up. Runner takes off for second, and that's going to be, I thought that was a safe. I thought he was going to be out for sure, but he ends up being safe. Alicia Guerra was not able to get that one over. I think she got it over there fast enough, but Sandman could not make the tag. May feel a little bit uncomfortable in that second base spot versus first. 2-2 count here. Runners at second and third. And that one back at, Tucker Blaze makes a mistake on that one, and he's not able to get it over to first in time. So runner scores on I don't think that's an error, but it is going to be dropping Tucker's mojo. And this is where you absolutely pull him. Runners at first and third with 2 outs, so that could have ended the inning. But now it is a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the fifth for Ashley Ariano, the number 9 player in the top 10, the biggest hitter from this Yang All-Star team production-wise, and a big opportunity for her. And 1-2 count again. She stays alive, looking to see if she can get the lead, and she takes strike 3. So Tucker Blaze, tense, was still able to get out of that inning, but it is all tied up now as things have kind of gotten away from the All-Stars, or for the Yin All-Star team, as they could not get their pitching staff together. Kate Berg gets pulled. Elias Stubbs comes in from the Burglars. 18 strikeouts on the year. She went tied for 5th in that category. A .91 whip, which was good for 10th on the year. She also had a 3.52 ERA and a 0.193 opponent batting average. And Tony Centercut, the big offense for the Yin All-Stars, looking to see what he can do here in a full count against Elias Stubbs with K Collector activated. And what a fucking bomb. Holy moly. That one hits off the fence behind the park. His second home run of the game, showing why he is the MVP and the Rookie of the Year. 459 for him. And what a piss missile. That one shot to left center field, a no-doubter, and it gives the Yin All-Stars in the top of the 6th another lead, this time 4-3. Elias Hensley with no outs, looking to see if he can add to that as well. Chases a pitch there. K Collector activates 0-2 count here for Hensley as he gets ahead of that fastball and pulls it foul. And gets the slider, but ends up missing that one and hits it foul. There's the fastball that he fouls off again, so good battle here. Takes a ball right above the zone for ball 2. And then the line out to Barrett Andrews at short to get out number 1. Nice battle there. And Elias Stubbs, after making the mistake, was able to recover and get the out there. She now has to face off against a very, very formidable Havoc Sandman. who just misses the line on that one down the left field line, and he's down 0-2. K Collector activates, fouls that one off, throws that elite slider low and out of the zone for ball one. And there it is. That is a nasty pitch for Aliyah Stubbs as she gets the strikeout now. And now here comes the other Yin All-Star from the Outlaws, that being Justice Cologne, 0-for-1 with a walk. 0-2 count here. Aliyah Stubbs looking to see if she can finish her off. She doesn't. She pulls that one foul. And then takes ball one low. Fights one off there. 1-2 count with 2 outs, max pressure, and Justice Cologne grounds out to second base. Arkansas over to Ariano, and 3 outs left for the Yang All-Stars to see if they can battle back in this one. They need 1 to tie, 2 to win. The fans are clamoring for a comeback here as they pull Tucker Blaze for Quentin Rogers, the closer. He is not an official closer. We brought him in. Havoc Sandman gets pulled for Lorelei Von Crum. Casey Willis comes in at third base. So that's the replacements that we like to see. All defensive replacements. Just a quick note. Casey Willis of the Reapers comes in for third base. We see Lorelei Von Crum from the Sewer Sneaks come in at second base. Base hit up the middle there against where's our guy? Quentin Rogers of the Blurs. He gets the closer role, even though he was actually a long reliever, but had to pick somebody from the team. 15 strikeouts from him on the year, 2.5 ERA, and he is facing a very, very potent Hugo Base, who puts that one into center field, and it is not going to get to wall. Cuts it off as Fox Brennan, who gets it into second base to cut the runner from second from trying to advance to second base. But tying run at third with no outs. Quentin Rogers struggling, and now Barrett Andrews comes in. Hugo Base gets pulled. Donovan Rounds, the pitcher, comes in from the protectors, and he's going to be, what a bunt from Barrett Andrews is a sacrifice. The suicide squeeze allows the tying run to come across here in the bottom of the 6th. Big moment from Hugo Bass, and here comes Crash Turncoat with a runner in scoring position at second with great speed. Donovan Rounds, the pitcher, nice scoop from Lorelei at second base there to make sure that didn't get into the outfield. But this is a very intense moment. Quentin Rogers already tense. And this is, I think, where you decide to pull him already. He goes for third, and nice play from Alicia Guerra. The catcher gets the runner at third, attempting to steal, and 2 outs now. No threat on the bases for Crash Turncoat, but he still can't end this with one big swing of the bat. And Quentin Rogers battling here, tense, and is a closer. His day ends very quickly. 16 pitches already, 2-2 count, and dribbles that one. Quentin leans down, picks it up, gets it over to first. But this is going into extras, folks. Exactly what we want to see from an all-star game, as much of these players as possible. And so Quentin Rogers does give up the lead, blowing the lead, and Leonardo Deputy comes in for Fox Brennan. Zaire Brazone comes in for Donovan Rounds to play right field. I think we might actually see most, if not all, of these players today. Leonardo Deputy from the Blurs, 835 OPS. He had 4 home runs and 9 RBIs for the Blurs, best player on their team, and he hits that one in the left field. It's going to get down and all the way into the corner. The Panther gets to it quickly, doesn't have a great arm, but he's able to get it in to hold the runner at first base. So a leadoff base hit from Leonardo Deputy coming in off the bench. Marcel Hornblower comes in 0-for-2. Max pressure here, and they bring Luciano Stafford to replace Aliyah Stubbs. Stafford of the below zeros had a 2.35 ERA, 14 strikeouts, and a 1.43 whip. Very dominant performance this year from him. He's going to have to see what he can do here as a reliever, normally a starter. Gets the strikeout there against Hornblower, low contact, but he was able to get the strikeout, and now Alicia Guerra comes in 1-for-2. Big defensive performance from her today, as she did get to throw out a runner at third base, but now an opportunity to try and help her team. She sings through strike one there, 1-1 count. Okay speed over there at first in deputy. Ball way out of the zone, 2-2 count here. And Alicia Guerra works the count full with one out, fouls one off here, looking to see if she can find something to drive. And she works the walk, so good eye from Alicia Guerra getting on base. You can tell she's comfortable in this position as she was here already before. And Skylar Rocket, I was mistaken earlier, third hit, 3 hits today, a double and 2 singles. Another opportunity to make something big happen. And he dribbles one to first base. Ariano tosses to second, and good hustle from Skylar Rocket as he was able to leg that out for a fielder's choice, but 1 out and runners on first and 2 outs, runners on first and third for Casey Willis with his tier 2 RBI hero activated. Casey Willis of the Reapers had 3 home runs and 9 RBIs on the year and 3 doubles. So a good opportunity for him to use his talents, but he pops it up into foul territory. Raging over there is the third baseman, Knox Dominguez, catching that for out number 3. So no runs come across, left the runner stranded at third. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, starting with Maximilian Panther, who's 2 for 2 with 2 singles today. We'll see what the Yin All-Stars do. They keep their closer in. Quentin Rogers already tired, so he is prone to make mistakes. 20th pitch of the game here, and he is back to neutral mojo, but it's not looking good for him as he gets a grounder. Nice play from Justice Colon, awkwardly playing shortstop as a lefty, but she was able to scoop that one, turn her body, and toss it over to first for out number 1. You won't see that very often. Rogers gets pulled, and here's one of them, Vincente Moon. He went to the... I'm trying to find him really quick. Vincente Moon went to the Bone Chills. He had an incredible year. 2.61 ERA, a 1.06 whip, and he gives up a base hit there, but a 1.79 opponent batting average. 7 strikeouts for him. Good for him. Happy to see him on here, but don't blow it, man. He gives up the base hit there with 1 out, and here comes Leon Cross, 1 for 3 today. And there's another base hit on the first pitch. Cross sends it into left field. So 1 out, runners on first and second with Terry Arkansas coming up. He already got 1 RBI today, 1 for 3 with a single and an RBI. Max pressure still. Vincente Moon with his elite cut fastball gets the pop-up, infield fly, runners retreat. Von Crum catches that for out number 2. Big moment for the number 9 in the top 10, Ashley Ariano. Contact versus lefties, maxed out. You have so many pitchers in the bullpen. Replace him. Gets the first pitch strike, 2 outs, runner in scoring position. Not very good speed, but great speed over there at first base. Dribbler to Moon, over to Hensley for out number 3. He gets out of the jam. Vincente Moon, what a performance from him. Big year 2, and that was fun to see. And here we go. Tony Centercut locked in, 2 for 3 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs, responsible for all of the Yin runs. In the top of the 8th against Luciano Stafford, Centercut looking for that 1 four-seam fastball that he has, and he puts that one off the end of the bat, did not time it up properly, but was able to make that power useful, and he pushes it into center field for a leadoff single. In the top of the 8th, now Elias Hensley, 0 for 3 today. The other huge player, the number 2 player in the league this year, has been struggling in the All-Star game. Tony Centercut takes off, and he is going to be caught stealing second base, something he was not good at all year long. He got caught stealing on every attempt, I think 2 or 3 during the season. He gets caught stealing there. Just not something he is very good at speed-wise. Even with the speed, he's just not a good base runner. And nice job from Elias Hensley working the walk there. But you really wish that Tony did not try and take off. I don't know if that was a coach's decision or a personal decision, but with 1 out, Waylon Chung comes in, the closer for the Skulls. Waylon was number 10 in the top 10, gets a first pitch strike against Von Crum. And Waylon, 2 saves, 3 wins. He had a really great performance out of the bullpen. He gets the ground out to shortstop on a shattered bat for out number 2. And here comes Justice Cologne, 0 for 2 with a walk. She is not shy from making big hits and big moments here in season 2, as she has walked off a few games this year. I think at least 1. Runner in scoring position at second does not have good speed, and something we saw a lot last year is a big strikeout there. Waylon Chung gets Justice Cologne striking out for out number 3. And you wonder if that Tony center cut attempted stolen base was the straw that broke the camel's back. Vincente Moon coming out for the bottom of the 8th against Knox Dominguez, who pops it up into right field. Ranging in is Marcel Hornblower, catching that for out number 1. Zaire Brazone comes in with his Tier 3 clutch activated. He is going to have a big boost to his attributes here in an extreme pressure situation. Vincente Moon has a lot to go up against, and Brazone quickly from the Burglars, 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. Not a big year for him, but good enough for the Burglars to make this team. Full count with 1 out, grounds it to short. Justice Cologne, even though she struck out, does not have the tense mojo, so at neutral, she's able to make that play easily for out number 2. Barrett Andrews did get the RBI, the game-tying RBI in the bottom of the 6th on the sacrifice bunt, and he comes in 0 for 2 with a chance to potentially put this game on his back. 2-2 count here. Moon getting tired. Full count now with 2 outs. Payoff pitch, and it's going to be a base hit for Barrett Andrews, as he was battling really well there and ends up getting the hit to extend the inning. Crash Turncoat comes in, and I think you should pull Vincente Moon here just from him being tired. They do. Cantor Murphy comes in from the Burners, had a 3.38 ERA, a .96 whip, and a .211 OBA on the year with 11 strikeouts. So from the Burners, looking to see if he can, nice pitch there as he gets Crash Turncoat for strike 3. And we go to the 9th. If you were upset that I didn't set it to 9 innings, don't worry, you get him here, as Leonardo Deputy comes in 1 for 1 with a single. He came in late to replace his partner, and he hits that one high into right field. It is going to die in right field for Brazone, catching that for out number 1. Deputy came in to replace his outfield counterpart, Fox Brennan, in center field. And here comes Marcel Hornblower, 0 for 3 today. He did strike out his last at-bat, but a big opportunity here with all of that power against Waylon Chung. Waylon having a really great performance here today, gets another strikeout, and he is pretty happy with himself as he now has to face off against locked-in Alicia Guerra. 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. So she has been hitting very well, playing very well today. 2 outs, top of the 9th. Alicia Guerra looking to try and see if she can extend it a little bit longer for the Yin All-Stars, but hits it right to Ariano at first base for out number 3. So we head to the bottom of the 9th. It's going to be 9-1 or 8-9-1 for the Yangs. Starting with Maximilian Panther, 2 for 3 with 2 singles today. High pressure now instead of Max. Don't understand why that's the case. Cantor Murphy still out there for the Yin All-Stars. And starting off with a base hit into left center field, base rounder will activate, so it's going to be easy double for Maximilian Panther in the winning run, standing at second base to start off this bottom of the 9th. And now Lindsay York, 2 for 3 with a double, a single, and RBI. She's thrown out multiple runners behind the plate. Very great performance. She kind of just made it in. And this could be the game here. Deputy comes up throwing, but with base rounder activated, they decide to not cut the throw, and Lindsay York stretches it into a double. It does not matter except for it cuts off the ability to get the double play. And now runners on second and third with no outs, and Leon Cross comes up 2 for 4 with 2 singles today. And Cantor Murphy finding himself in a bit of trouble, winning run 90 feet away. They might try the suicide squeeze once again, as there are no outs. Infield in, outfield shallow. And a 1-2 count here for Murphy, needing to get out of this one. Swings at that one and fouls it off. Still 1-2. We'll do it again. Takes ball 2 just at the bottom of the zone. Misses the strike zone. Another foul. We'll do it again. 2-2 count. And swings through strike 3. So this is where not cutting off that ball is a very important, or a very big decision, as a double play could get them out of the inning if she was still at first base. But instead, standing at second, Terry Arkansas comes in. And there's the grounder, and misplayed by Lorelei Von Crum. Very reliable infielder her entire career, and she misplays that one, and that ends it. The Yang All-Stars, after losing the first All-Star game last year, comes back from behind, winning this one in extra innings, 9-inning affair. What a fun game this was. What an all-star game. We've seen big power. We saw great manufactured runs. We saw great pitching. This was really fun. 4 runs on 8 hits and 1 error. That was the one that ended the game for the Yin All-Stars. The Yang All-Stars get the victory. 5 runs on 13 hits and no errors for them. Skylar Rocket had a great start, 3 for 4 with a run scored. Arbor was not good today. Hensley, Sandman, all 0 for 3. Very, very unfortunate. Between the 3 of those players, 5 strikeouts. That's not good. Justice Cologne went 0 for 3. Bad day for her. Brennan, same thing. Hornblower, same thing. They did not show up. Who did show up for the Yin All-Stars was the MVP. Tony Centercut, 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and he did get caught stealing once, but he was the MVP, and he showed it here today. Really carried his team. For the Yang All-Stars, kind of more distributed performances across the board here, as Cross had 2 hits, Arkansas with 1 hit and 2 RBIs, Dominguez 2 for 4 with a home run, a solo shot, and 2 runs scored. Hugo Bass with a 1 for 3 day. Andrews 1 for 3 with an RBI. He had that clutch suicide squeeze in the bottom of the 6th inning to tie the game, and that's what sent it into extras. Turncoat had a bad day, but Panther and York at the bottom of the lineup, 3 for 4 for both of them. And what a game this was. For the pitching side of things, Ellie Acosta pitched really well, but stayed in just a bit too long and gave up a solo home run. Her only mistake of the game. She gave up 2 hits and struck out 4 in 3 2/3. Tucker Blaze, 1 1/3 inning, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He did not have a great outing today. Rogers did not do well. Vincente Moon, credit to him, 1 1/3, 3 hits. And then Cantor Murphy gets a loss, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, and did not give up an earned run, as that was an error from Von Crum. He did strike out 2. For the Yang All-Stars, Kellen Kirk started off well, but then fell apart as he gave up the 3-run homer to Tony Centercut. He also walked 1, gave up 4 total hits, and struck out 4. Great pitching from Kate Berg. Elias Stubbs pitched decently well, but did give up the solo home run to Centercut. And then you saw Stafford get out of the jam that he was in, 1 1/3 innings, did not allow a run. And then Waylon Chung, very, very impressive, gets the win, 1 2/3, 2 strikeouts. So then who do you say are the 1, 2, and 3? I think you're going to say Tony Centercut gets the 1 spot, maybe Dominguez at number 2. I don't know. I almost feel like Alicia Guerra deserves some credit here. Actually, I think York will get the number 3 spot. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think as we head over there. And it's going to be Tony Centercut 1, Lindsay York number 2, which I think is justified, and then Knox Dominguez gets number 3. So that's your top 3. I actually guessed them correctly, but not in the right order. But what a all-star game. That was super fun. What I do want to do is kind of pop back over to that team and just do a couple of shout outs for players that did not get a chance to play or I did not get a chance to talk about. So let's go over to those two teams really quick, and then we will preview the playoffs. All right, so for the teams here, we know about Alicia Guerra. Actually, let me do it like this. There we go. Alicia Guerra, we talked about Elias Hensley, Havoc Sandman. Casey Willis, if I didn't get a chance to mention, from the Reapers, he got the start, or he got the nod for the All-Star game, but did not get the start. Made good plays there. Carolina Arbor had a rough All-Star game. Then we saw Lorelei Von Crum, who came in from the Sewer Sneaks and played well up until that last inning. She got the error that ended the game. Leonardo Deputy, we talked about him. Tony Centercut, Skylar Rocket. Yeah, we covered all of them. For the pitching side of things, we saw Elia Costa. Taking a look at some of the other pitchers that did not make it to get a chance to play, we got Ramon Burr from the Sewer Sneaks came in, was sixth in WHIP at a .86, tied for fifth in strikeouts with 18. Chucky Meyer was number 7 in the top 10, ended up getting top 6 in ERA with a 1.35, .75 WHIP at fifth, and then a .181 OBA, good for 9th in the league. I don't have time to cover all of these. We know about Madden Zimmerman of the Outlaws. He makes it the team. Cantor Murphy, we talked about. Loki McClay had a good pitching performance this year for the Pythons. We saw Tucker Blaze. We saw Leon McLean of the Marauders. I don't think he got a chance to appear. Decent year for him. And then we saw Vincente Moon and Quentin Rogers. Want to pop over to the Yang All-Stars. Sorry, I'm rushing. I have a limit of 1 hour, and we are getting close. So just want to make sure that I can get through everything with the time we have. Messiah Marino did not get into the game. He made the All-Star team from the below zeros, so nice to see him make the team. Pretty solid year for him, but nothing of note. We saw Ashley Ariano. We saw Adonis. We did not see Adonis York. He made the All-Star team for the second year of his career. 4 home runs and 9 RBIs from the Skimmers. So kudos to him. Then we saw everyone else. Yeah, everyone else on the offensive side of things. All right, Kellen Kirk. We didn't see Reeve Blackwell of the Scroungers. He made the All-Star team. Rory Bowen, wanted to highlight him. He played for the Favorites this year. 2.93 ERA, a .98 WHIP, and a .164 OBA. Good for 5th in the league. He had 15 strikeouts and a really great performance from the former Outlaw. Donovan Rounds, we saw him come in as a runner. He did not allow an earned run all year, so his 0.00 ERA was good for best in the league. He came from the Protectors. Saw Elias Stubbs. Trip Hahn, I'm surprised he didn't get a chance to appear, from the Dive Bombers. A 1.59 ERA was good for 9th in the league. We saw Stafford. We didn't see Banjo Prince of the Skimmers. Had a good year for his team. Kate Berg we saw, and Waylon Chung. So just wanted to give those players a little bit of a shout out, even though they didn't get a chance to make to play in the game. But it was really fun to see a lot more players get in with that extended extra inning affair. And taking a look at the team the preview of the playoffs as we get started. We made all of our moves. We made the playoffs, and looking at the bracket, it is going to be the Outlaws versus the Reapers. It'll be a very interesting performance. They say Mashington, but I'm going to put Zimmerman in the number 1 spot for us. The Dirt Dogs will face off against the Maulers in the bottom of our Yin Conference, and then over on the other side, the Skulls will be facing off against the Protectors, their first year in the All-Star game, and the Favorites, who made the All-Star, their first time making the playoffs. the favorites will face off against the dive bombers. So we'll take a look next time out at what the lineup's going to be. But thank you so much for enjoying. I hope you are watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry about the rush there at the end, but just wanted to get this all in within the 60 minutes that I have for this recording. So thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and can't wait to see you in the playoffs. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.